Hello and welcome to Pop Culture Shark, a live stream about all things pop culture. I'm Final Monkey,
And I'm Caleb.
and today we have a doozy for you. We are talking about X Men '97, the follow up to the X Men animated series from the '90s. Does it hold up? Has Disney laid another rotten egg? We will we will talk about here shortly. But before then, Caleb, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a busy past couple weeks. So uh, live in Louisville, Kentucky, or in the surrounding area at this point since we moved. But we have a United Soccer League team, Lou City Football Club, and we go there a lot. Parents have season tickets, and so we went yesterday, and it was the first ever USL game that was ever broadcast on live like national television. It was on
Cool.
CBS. It was actually it was nice because it was the lead into the Final Four games. Uh, so so people may have had it on in the background while they were setting up for their Final Four parties. Um, but it was a good game. It was actually against the rivals, Indy 11. Uh, Honestly, out of any game to be the first broadcasted USL game on national television, what a game. Like that might be one of the best games I've seen, since I've started watching USL. But I'm wearing a hat because I got some major sunburn on my big A forehead. I always I have one of those. I acknowledge it. Another thing is something that I'm working on for the channel. Uh, Obviously, we weren't here last week because of Easter. Another reason was it was the Louisville Arcade Expo. Um, and so I went there. I took a bunch of B-roll. Cameron and he helped me, film all that. We helped my other uncle, um, who builds custom pinball machines. We helped him take some stuff over there. One that I was surprised that he ended up taking, but it was pretty popular. Not as popular as his punch-up machine that he made. Um, but he's actually made an arcade cabinet of the Stinko Man 20XD6 game. Do you remember
Nice.
that?
Yes.
So you want to hear something insane? So Craig's an oddball because he'll just ask people stuff, and he gets answers like he's had conversations with the brothers Chaps about some strong bad stuff and Homestar stuff, and people just respond. So he actually got in contact with the person who actually developed the 20XD6 game, and he actually gave Craig the source code for the game.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so it runs better than it ever did in Flash, and B, he can actually make his own custom levels now.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, but yeah, so I am working on a little recap video. I've got some fun stuff. We got third in the trivia contest, so that was better than we've ever done before. But I definitely want to do a recap video. I've got my game of the like the game that I've never played before. My game uh, of the show, which is a game called Music Gun Gun 2. It is a rhythm game, but it's also a light gun shooter, and I've never seen anything like it, and it was amazing. Um, and then I've got my pinball game of the weekend, which was they just released a new Venom pinball machine, which is really cool. And what you can do is you can um, like select your symbiote host. So you have you can choose Peter Parker, you can choose Spider Gwen, you can choose Eddie Brock, or you can choose Flash Thompson, and you play the pinball game through them, and you actually uh, go through like there's like boss phase. So if you're not familiar with modern pinball. Modern pinball has gotten extremely complicated
Oh
because
yeah.
there are stories, there are boss fights, and what I appreciate about this is I know that this was made by a a true comic book fan and not just someone trying to capitalize off of Venom because of who the final boss is. Because, like, you would think that the final boss of the Venom arcade game or the Venom pinball machine would be like Carnage,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not. It's actually Null.
Cool.
Yeah. And so you go through, you fight Riot and Toxin and the other Venomlings and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And once you beat Null, you actually get 3 bonus hosts that you can play as, which is Wolverine, Hulk, and Captain America.
Nice.
Um, so yeah, I'll be going over all that in the recap video. But it was definitely my pinball game of the weekend, and I thought I'd share it here as well because we don't get to talk up Marvel in a positive light that often anymore. So I thought I would. But yeah, that's been my past 2 weekends. What's been up with you?
Last week was a rough week. Just a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
We lost Joe Flattery, I think is how you say his last name.
Yeah.
And which was I would just been watching some of his videos, some of his old SCTV stuff, Count Floyd and all that fun stuff. And yeah, so that was a bummer. We also lost Ed Piskor last week, and I'm not gonna get too much into that, but just say that online witch hunts are a bad thing, and we should condemn those. That we should condemn those who condemn.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, innocent until proven guilty
Right,
is what
right.
I'm
If someone did something wrong, then great, take them to court.
saying.
Don't prosecute them online. And to those who are getting harassed online, the internet's not the whole world. You can step
Yes.
off the internet, and there's a whole other world out there that doesn't even care what the internet says. So I'll get off my soapbox now, but um, I too am trying to work on some side projects for the channel. I've just been so busy. Our logo is a little shark puppet. That is Lenny the Shark, and I've been wanting to do videos with him forever.
And not Lenny the Shark from Shark Tale.
Yeah, so let me say this. We are legally not allowed to call him Lenny, even though I had Lenny way before that movie ever came out. So this will be the only time that I will mention that his name is Lenny. If the audience wants to call him Lenny, great. We might just call him the Shark or the Culture Shark or something.
We could probably go by Leonard or something like that.
Like I said, if hey, the audience can call him whatever they want, but me and you will not call him Lenny.
All right.
And I'll give that disclaimer more often.
I also think it's fun. I also think it's funny that we have to put up that disclaimer, implying that anyone else remembers that movie.
Well, that's true. That's the other thing. Does DreamWorks even care? I don't know. I don't know how litigious companies are with their properties.
I mean,
they just made a Megamind sequel, so I mean, I guess it's possible that we will get a sequel to Shark Tale one day. Although I don't know if they want to work with Will Smith again. So, anywho, moving on to things I've been watching and reading. Caleb, have you been watching Shogun yet?
No, I haven't.
Caleb,
I know.
This show is so good.
It's one of those shows that I'm waiting to see if my parents are interested in it because we watched The Bear and we watched Ted Lasso, so I'm like, maybe this is something. Like we had them over and we watched the Blackberry movie, and I was like, I definitely wanted to see this, but maybe we could try out Shogun.
So, there is some nudity, but it's not Game of Thrones levels of nudity. And
FX is becoming kind of HBO light in that way.
Yeah. And then there's lots of subtitles. So if someone doesn't like subtitles, this may not be the show for you. But other than that, I love the show. And I think there's only like 3 episodes left, and then that's it. This is a 1 season and done. So this show is just awesome. I cannot recommend it enough. The cliffhanger the last episode ended on, I was just like, what is going on? So yeah, Shogun, I cannot recommend enough. Great show. The actor that played Hogun from the Thor movies is one of the characters in this. You remember the Warriors 3,
Oh yeah.
The Asian guy? He's kind of a swarmy backstabber character on the show. He's a great actor. It makes you realize how much the Thor movies wasted that actor. It just let him just eat up the seeds. He's great.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Tripping Mark? You just reminded me that a show that I have started watching, and a universe that's kind of been in caps, like I've really been getting into, just because I'm at the point, like I think Dune was like a gateway drug, or like the gateway spice for me. Like I'm getting really into like obscure and abstract sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
So I started watching Three Body Problem on Netflix, and
So
it's a
my
weird
next
one.
subject is the Three Body Project, which I just started reading.
Hey, cool. Hey, we did not talk about this. We did not talk about it. So here's the thing. I might start reading this. The show's pretty all right. I'm having fun with it. I might read this. Apparently they changed quite a bit from books to the show. Like the first season covers like the first book and some of the second book, but they like jumble stuff around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, like just the ideas are interesting. Like
Yeah.
I had to watch a TED talk on what the actual Three Body Problem is.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of techno jargon in it, but I'm kind of following it okay. It's not I'm not like I don't always 100% know what they're talking about, but it's not like I'm bored either. So yeah, it's an interesting mystery. The bad thing is if you read the front flap of the book, it tells you what the mystery is.
Yeah.
So like it took 200 pages to reveal, oh my gosh, da 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 da. I was like, yeah, well the front flap of the book told me the same thing. So
You know what I'm starting to realize?
What's that?
I have to look this up real quick just so that way I don't okay, so I'm gonna label it like this then, because I was gonna Eastern sci-fi
Mm-hmm.
is so weird. Because Shinjin Liu is Chinese. Yunha Lee, who wrote the Machineries of Empire, is Korean, and that's a book series that I tried to read and I want to get back into it, but it was just so weird that I couldn't follow it. I believe I've talked about it. It's the Nine Fox Gambit book. I think I talked about it on the channel before, where like the way their technology works is based off of the calendar, and those who don't follow the calendar are considered radicalists. Like it's super weird, and so Eastern sci-fi I've noticed is just super weird, and I love it.
Well, when this book opens up in the 60s, I want to say, and there's I may have the wrong term, but I think like a cultural revolution going on where they are
yes
going
it,
around killing anybody who has Western beliefs, and
right
they are killing.
I believe they are counter-revolutionaries.
Yes, that's the term. And they are killing off, like if you believe in the theory of relativity, they're going to kill you. If you're a professor teaching that, you're dead. And I was like,
And
oh wow, that's crazy. They made that up. And I look it up. Oh no, that's real. China really did all this.
so I was just talking to my dad about that because I'm like, and here's the thing, we're going too long on this. We're gonna have to make this a whole show because I didn't know that you were getting into this universe as well. um, but I'm just like, I was talking to my dad. I'm like, hey, Dad, do you remember whenever the Watchmen TV show came out on HBO, and they do like
Tulsa.
the Tulsa massacre, and we're all
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, that wow, that's insane. I can't believe what that actually happened, and they didn't teach about that in schools.
Yeah,
Like, and so like it was kind of like this one more understandable because in schools we're not teaching
about
Eastern.
China.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not teaching Eastern history, and I get it. But it was kind of surreal to have that experience again. Fun thing. So three body problem, and I looked into this. So Xingjin Liu, actually, this was released periodically. It was kind of like whenever they release it in magazines, like chapter by chapter.
Hmm.
And so that's how Three Body Problem was originally released. That chapter was actually not released first, because Shinjin Liu was afraid if he released that chapter first, that like the Chinese government would come after him. So the first chapter with the Chinese Revolution was actually released later on after the story in the magazine had gotten some cred. And so Shinjin Liu has actually recommended to his English-speaking Chinese fans to read Ken Liu's translated version because that's how he originally intended it to be released.
Yeah, and there's some stuff really critical of China in here.
Yeah.
And so I'm amazed that they published it and everything. Yeah, so I've been learning about Japan through Shogun. I've been learning about China through Three Body Problem, and then I also read a graphic novel series called Boxers and Saints about the Boxer Revolution in China in the late 1800s.
Okay.
And this is a 2-volume set. One set is telling the story from the Boxer's point of view, and the other is from the Saints' point of view. And this was amazing. I did
Okay.
not think this was going to be this good. It's a little
I
bit of
I already love
hyper.
the art.
Yeah, it's a little hyper realistic in that. Yes, it's historical, but like the kid on the left, the boxer kid, he is seeing everybody as like their Chinese gods, like avatars for them and stuff. So like he will, he'll go into battle, but he will see the Chinese gods fighting with him and stuff. And his dad gets beat up by so-called Christians, so he goes on a mission to wipe out all the Christians in China. And then the Saints story is about a girl who gets banished from her family and ends up going to the church and becoming part of the church and seeing that side of the story where the Christians are being attacked by the boxers and stuff and how they're trying to survive and stuff. And she is seeing visions of Joan of Arc the whole time. Uh, it's really good.
Okay.
I got from the library. Your local library may have it, or just order from Amazon. But yeah, if you like historical fiction, you want to learn something. This was great.
Okay.
So
Cool.
again, something I knew nothing about in Chinese history, um, where the Boxer Revolution, they killed several Christians and also killed several Chinese people through this revolution. So, as Tripping Orc pointed out in the chat, there's a lot they don't teach in school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I encourage everybody to go read a book or read Wikipedia. There's stuff, I know Wikipedia is a little bit one-sided at times, but just start clicking articles, click history and art. You'll start learning stuff, and then and then you could go find books based on those subjects and just learn all kinds of stuff.
That just makes me think of the joke from The Office. Whenever Michael's like, Wikipedia is the most amazing thing because anybody anywhere can put anything they want on there, so you know you're getting the best information. No, I mean, like, here's the thing for those of you who are not in college yet or were out of college before the Wikipedia revolution, the best thing to do if you're like, if it's on Wikipedia, there should be a reference for it. That's what those
Yeah,
little numbers are. So like you can just click the reference and then you can go to exactly. So like Wikipedia is a good starting place no matter what. Like you, like whenever professors are like, don't reference Wikipedia. Yeah, don't reference Wikipedia. Reference what Wikipedia references.
yeah. They will tell you they have little links at the bottom telling you exactly what article they're pulling
Yeah.
from or what story or yeah.
And if there's not a link to it, don't trust it. Like don't trust that information.
And Wikipedia is being replaced by AI, so now you have people writing papers with AI and just turning them in. That's also stupid. Don't just turn it in from AI. You could get some ideas from what AI generates and
Yeah.
then build off of that. But oftentimes AI is completely wrong.
Mm.
I was watching Doug the other day, and he was like, I'm trying out Google's AI," and he said, "Hey, can you recommend some AI programs?" And it just starts naming all these programs and what they do and the websites do them. He starts clicking them; they're all fake. The AI was just making them up completely.
It so we can put a pin in that because I know we want
Yeah,
to talk about AI, and I know we've talked about pretty much just going through everything that is Blade Runner on screen as a part of that. Um, Simply because we love 2049 so much.
Mhm.
Um, but do you think that's whenever AI becomes sentient? Is whenever it can lie?
That's a good question because I mean it was straight up lying, and he would call it out. He would say, "Hey, I checked some of those; those were factually incorrect." And they would say, "Oh, I'm sorry. Try these instead," and it would just spit out some more fake ones. And it,
So it's like it's kind of like calling customer service and like they intentionally give you it's like you call customer service for something and they give you the wrong information because they don't know the answer but they have to give you something.
right?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll put a pin in that and okay, so we got Eastern science fiction,
Uh huh.
AI. We'll just have to make like a whole month of weird sci-fi or whatever. Like
Yeah, we need to start
summer,
like a Google calendar where we keep
yeah,
track of our show ideas and video
yeah,
ideas.
summer of sci-fi. There we go. That's
Yeah. I did talk to Daniel last week.
Mhm.
He is still reading through Astro City. He's been super busy, but
It's yeah,
he's
and
reading through it.
and I understand it's a lot. Like
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna have to go back through it because some of it's just a lot. So it's kind of like bleeding out my
Lot
mind.
of new characters and
Yeah,
yeah, there's a lot going on. So
no, I
uh
understand completely.
that show is still coming up. It'll probably be towards the end of April, maybe even May at this point. But yeah,
Yeah,
that show is still coming. So
yeah.
let's get on to some news.
Do you want to start with mine or yours? Because they're both pretty good segues into X-Men '97, honestly.
Just pick. I don't
All
remember
right,
I don't remember what they were. Let's go.
all right. I'll start with mine. So I don't know if you got a chance to watch it, but the Tales of the Empire trailer dropped.
Yeah, I
Just
watched it just before the show
Yeah.
started. I watched it.
Yeah. So it kind of dropped out of nowhere. We were hearing rumors of a follow up to Tales of the Jedi, and we didn't know kind of what it would be. And so Tales of the Empire just makes sense. It's going to be dropping on May the 4th because, we always got to have something dropping on May the 4th. I'm actually very excited for this for no other reason than the fact that I have been waiting for Barris Uffy's story to be told at some point. Um, and for those of you who don't know, Barra Sophie is the one who was pretty much Ahsoka's best friend, who ended up betraying her to the Separatists and framing her for bombing the Jedi Temple. And her story past that has never been told. And so I'm very excited about that. Um, as far as Morgan Elsbeth, she's an interesting character for those who've watched Mandalorian and Ahsoka. And Night Sisters have always been interesting to me, and with a little bit of a Thrawn thrown in the mix, so that'll be cool. But just like last time with Tales of the Jedi, where we had the Ahsoka origin and we had the Count Dooku origin, where I'm more interested in Count Dooku's than Ahsoka's, I'm definitely more interested in Barris's than Morgan Elsbeth's.
So I watched the trailer. I was like, "Oh, cool, Thrawn," and then I just didn't care. I mean, I knew who the girl was. She was like the Padawan from the prequels. You know,
Mhm.
I recognized her and stuff, but I'm just so tired of Disney Star Wars. I've been thinking this a lot. If they want to get me back, they need to just announce an animated series, The Adventures of Luke Skywalker. I'll be there day one. But until then, I just don't care. So
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a just a prediction right now,
mhm,
just so I have it on video.
mhm.
Um, Barra Sophie's story is going to be her going through the trials and tribulations of becoming an inquisitor. She's going to be suffering, but she's going to be resilient and she wants this. And as soon as she meets Darth Vader, Anakin will recognize her and kill her immediately. That is my that I that is what I'm calling.
That'd be actually pretty funny.
Yeah, no, I mean, but it would make sense because, uh, you know, Anakin is still kind of in there. That's always
Yeah,
been and so this is the person who tore Ahsoka away from me. I'm going to kill her.
yeah.
So that's what I'm calling. That's what should happen. Another thing that I'm interested in. So there's that. Grievous is kind of coming back, and there's going to be a fight scene between Grievous and Morgan Elsbeth. I need General Grievous to have he has not been threatening since 2003.
He hasn't been threatening since the Jendi Tartovsky
Yeah.
cartoon.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about is the
Yeah.
2003 cartoon. I need him to have that. Lair of Grievous and the Night Sisters story arc in the Clone Wars was close, but and I still think that his theme song in the Tartakovsky show, I mean, it's one of the greatest villain theme songs
The
ever. So
Tartovsky cartoon is amazing,
yeah,
and I hate that it's non canon now. It was so much fun.
yeah. But yeah, that's it's a lot of fun. So next up, I think we'll go ahead and talk about this. This this isn't a tweet. This is a thread that James Gunn posted. Um, the primary protagonist of Superman is shockingly Superman. The main villain of Superman is shockingly Lex Luthor. I don't know where all the stuff is coming from that is something other than this. There are so many stories coming out every day. It's so difficult to deal with, and every time I strike something down, I'm giving it attention. So I'll say it again. Don't believe anything unless you see it here. And why would you want to know everything before the movie comes out anyway?
The reason he has to say this is because of idiots like Zack Snyder and Ryan Johnston and all these people that are deconstructing superheroes, and audiences no longer know what to expect from these movies. Zack Snyder keeps swearing up and down that Batman has to kill, and everybody's like, no, Batman doesn't kill. That's the point. And Zack Snyder does not get it. So the audience is very confused now
Yeah.
when it comes to heroes and villains.
So the reason I bring up this tweet, first of all, yes, this is what I. Oh, I got to point this way. Yes, this is what I want from my Superman movie. I want Superman and Lex Luthor. Plain and simple. You don't have to change anything. You don't have to change who a character is. You don't have to change something arbitrary like their gender. What am I talking about?
Yeah, who? Yeah, I don't know why you would change someone's gender when the character has been a certain
Yeah.
way for 70 years or however long.
Yeah. So of course we're talking about the Silver Surfer stuff. Now I don't have a picture of the female Silver Surfer. I thought I'd go ahead and just bring up Joseph Quinn as Human Torch. So is this the photo that you were talking about?
Yeah, I have the complete photo, but yeah, that is the picture.
Okay.
Um,
It was like Happy 4-4 or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the thing. You can change a race, you can change a gender, you can whatever. As long as it doesn't inherently change the character. One thing that, and I've always defended this. Did you ever see the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie?
Yes, the one with Coolio. Yes.
Yeah. So Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin, I thought he did great with what he was given, and it doesn't like changing his race doesn't inherently change the character, you know.
But
Um,
there are some instances where it would change the character. Like you wouldn't do
right,
a movie with Tom Hanks as Martin Luther King.
right. No, that's what I'm saying is there are instances where it doesn't matter. Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon doesn't matter. He's great, and I love him as Jim Gordon, but like race doesn't matter, specifically with that character. Gender when it comes to so it's not here's the thing, it's actually not gender, it's the fact that they've just taken a different character and made them Silver Surfer.
So if I have time this week, there will be a not Lenny video, Lenny the Shark, not a video of him coming out this week about the Silver Surfer scenario. I don't want to give too much away right now because it'll be in the video. Why this is a way bigger deal and why this is way more inherently evil what Disney is doing. That'll be
Gi-
out later this
give
week.
give me your thoughts on this. Would it have been better, is it better, like, obviously don't change characters whenever it comes to the importance of their story arc, because there actually is good reason for this character to be Norrin Rad.
Mhm.
So tell me this: would it have been better to just been a female Norrin Rad, or is it better that they changed the character completely to leave open for Norrin Rad?
So that's my other theory. The Fantastic Four we see in this movie is in a different dimension, different
I don't.
timeline,
I've
whatever.
I, I've heard that and I don't like it.
My theory is either this universe gets destroyed by Galactus at the end and the Fantastic Four just get killed, or the Fantastic Four escape at the end and their universe is destroyed. And now they're saying, oh no, Galactus is coming again to the MCU. We got to get it right this time. And then maybe this time it is Norrin Rad. Like in that universe, it was a female Silver Surfer. Now it's actually Norrin Rad.
I
And maybe he's the difference. Now that it's Norrin Rad, maybe things will play out differently.
Yeah.
I
I
think that's giving Disney too much credit. What I just said, I don't think Disney's smart enough to do that story.
Yeah.
So
I'm done with multiverses. So
we've been done with multiverses after I'd say
Doctor
Doctor
yeah,
Strange.
Doctor Strange.
That was kind of it. We're like, okay, we're done, and Marvel still had like 10 more movies planned about the multiverse, and that is so stupid. You do
Yeah.
one multiverse, like a multiverse story. If you're reading comic books, should be like the summer annual. Like, oh look, we're gonna do this wacky adventure. Okay, now we're getting back to normal. And when you keep doing it every month or every movie, it loses its specialness, and it just becomes who
Yeah.
cares? If everything is what if or else worlds, there's no point to it.
Yeah. I mean, like this. I mean, this is what I've always said. I so I love the Ultimates, like Mark Millar's Ultimates and Ultimates 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my favorites. Um, Honestly, it's probably my favorite when it comes to the Avengers,
Mm-hmm.
as far as any story. But I don't need that to be the main. That needs to be the alternative. Multiverses should always just be the alternative, not the main story. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it. And like on Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, they would do the multiverse story once a season, and that was it. You know,
Yeah.
it can't
Yeah.
be these multiple. And even then, that was too much. By the end, you're like, okay, we're doing it again.
Don't even get me started on Community.
Yeah, it was like fun the first time they did it. Then they just kept going back to the evil Ahmed and stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, okay.
But yeah, I'm just
And then for
we're
this to come out when Rick and
obviously,
Morty had came out and they're doing multiverses every week, it's just everybody's sick of multiverses at this point.
yeah,
Which is
yeah.
a shame because I have a really great story about multiverse, and now I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't know if I'll ever tell the story or not.
My forever DM, Willis, who I've been on his podcast before, with his rock band. He was our DM for our Star Wars D&D campaign that was
Mhm.
5 years long, and he was so pissed whenever Multiverse of Madness came out because he's like, well, I was gonna do uh the Star Wars multiverse, because there's, I was gonna make sure that canon and legends and what we were doing, they were all separate universes, and bring them all together, and now it's not special anymore.
Well, the thing is, multiverses have been around, forever. The original Star
Oh yeah,
Trek did it in the '60s. Narnia started it. I mean, it's all
yeah.
it's there. So,
Plus,
uh,
closer and closer we get to the Star Wars multiverse. It's gonna happen at some point. I'm
so
already
I mentioned earlier last week was a rough week. I got so mad at Bob Iger last week. I was livid, and finally had to sit down and say, okay, this is some jack hole billionaire that I need to see. I'm almost getting mad again, sitting here just even mentioning it. He came out there and the proxy fight ended. He won the proxy fight last week. Nelson Peltz did, and so he's like, well, they keep complaining that we're woke. He goes, I don't think the audience even knows what wokeness means. And I lost it. Him gaslighting the audience, trying to say that we don't even know what wokeness is. And I'm like, I'm sorry. You have Baymax going to go buy tampons at the supermarket and asking a transgender person for advice on which tampon is the best show for preschoolers. I think I know what wokeness is. I think you don't know what wokeness is.
I'm honestly, I guess I don't get why he cares, because like
Well, he
he's
keeps getting criticized about it, say that, and he keeps saying his answer keeps saying, "Well, Disney's just gonna do what's best for the audience, and we're gonna for the best for the story." And, da, da, da. And I'm like, "You're an idiot." And as soon as he said that, the Silver Surfer news broke, and like, yeah, you don't even know. you
yeah, I he just needs to take a step back, and he needs to act like a rich white guy for once.
Well, he's in charge of Disney, and Disney has had a long tradition of having their CEO or leader be a spokesperson. Walt Disney would talk to the audience, Michael Eisner would talk to the audience, and so he's trying to follow that tradition. And really, he just needs to shut up. So, anyhow, I
But
could rant about Disney and Bob Iger for a really long time, but let's talk about something I think
wh-
Disney did pretty good with.
oh, okay.
Or unless you have more news, I was going
No,
to just
no, no, no,
transition
no, no,
into
no, no,
the
no, no, no.
topic.
We're transitioning. There's, like I said, there's going to be
We're
discussion.
transitioning, but not like Baymax's friend at the supermarket. We are
Yeah.
transitioning in.
No, we're transitioning into a topic that there's going to be discussion about this.
So yes, we are talking about X-Men '97, the continuation of the X-Men animated series from the '90s. Now, Caleb, I'm going to share with you a dirty secret about the X-Men '90s animated series.
Okay.
Okay, listen and get real close.
Okay.
It's not that good of a cartoon.
Oh my god.
The original X-Men '90s cartoon, it does not hold up if you go back and watch it. There are some great episodes. I think the Nightcrawler episode is still amazing.
I think Night of the Sentinels is great.
But
I think what people should go back and watch to show the quality of that show is go watch the Days of Future Past episode.
yes, I was about to say Days of Future Past and the Nightcrawler episode, and then you could kind of skip the rest.
Yeah.
There are so many.
No. I was implying the Days of Future Past episode was bad because it's not Days of Future Past.
It's sorta, but not really. I think the first couple of Bishop episodes are fun, and then they get really weird towards the end.
And
But
I
there are
don't
so
think
many
they
weird.
don't ever get cable right.
There are so many weird plot lines, and they'll just throw random characters in the background, and you're not even sure if they're really from the comic books or not. But X-Men was so hot at the time. Everybody's like, "Yeah, it's X-Men. We'll watch it." And the cartoon does do a good job of teaching you X-Men history. It brings up a lot of stuff that happened. It may not tell all of it accurately, but you at least get the story beats, from X-Men. But it's not that great a cartoon. If you compare it to Batman the Animated Series at the time, they are not even in the same league. It's not even close.
Yeah.
So X-Men '97, I finally sat down and watched the first 4 episodes this weekend. I really enjoyed it just because I haven't had X-Men in a long time. And I'm like, oh yeah, X-Men. Yeah, I used to love this stuff. But there's something feels off about it. And maybe as we discuss it, we'll figure it out. I also went back and rewatched the final episode of the X-Men animated series just to.
I mean, that last season's not good.
Oh no, they had major budget cuts and stuff. And I like how Henry Gyrick in the final episode looks nothing like the Henry Gyrick on X-Men '97. It's like a totally different character design. But basically, the final episode of the X-Men animated series, Xavier is testifying before the UN or something, and Henry Gyrick pulls out some device that makes him have like a psychic seizure or something. His telepathic powers are going out of control and it's killing him. And this reveals to the world that Xavier is a mutant. No one knew it at this point, even though he's in a floating wheelchair on TV. They didn't know he was a mutant. And so Magneto takes this opportunity to raise an army on Genosha of mutants, and they are started all these riots all over the world. And then the X-Men figure out that if they contact the Shi'ar in space, that they could save Xavier, but they need Magneto's powers to make that happen. So they go and recruit Magneto, and at the end, Xavier's taken off into space, and he kind of gives his last will and testimony to everybody that, he kind of says, Cyclops, you were my best student, and Wolverine, you found peace, and he kind of gives the final speech to everybody. And then he's taken off into space, and at the end, you just see Magneto and the X-Men looking up towards the sky, and that's how the series ends. So X-Men '97 picks up a year later from those events. And I'll just briefly go over what the episodes are about. The first episode is about the Friends of Humanity are using Sentinel technology. And it's apparent that the Sentinels are being produced again. So the X-Men go to hunt those down. And they meet Sunspot, Roberto da Costa. And Magneto shows up and says, oh, by the way, I run the school now. Xavier left it to me at his will. It just took us a year to figure this out for some reason. Second episode, Magneto's put on trial. Friends of Humanity try to kill him. Executioner tries to kill him. Storm gets shot, loses her powers. Third episode. What was the third episode? Oh, third episode is where we find out that
Madeline Pryor
Madeline Pryor. We do the Inferno stuff that she goes away at the end, and Baby Cable gets sent into the future. Oh, spoilers! That is Cable. And episode 4 is Motendo, and we get the Jubilee and Sunspot sucked into the X-Men arcade game where they fight their way out, and then we also get Storm and Forge being attacked by the adversary. So these are all storylines pulled from the comic books for the most part. They're pretty faithful to the stories, but this cartoon is going 100 miles an hour. It's not like anything develop. It is rushed. I think they had more episodes originally, and they had to cut down the episode order. I think the Motendo episode was originally a lot longer. Same with Life Death, and they just cut them down into one episode. Because I don't know if you noticed in that cartoon, they're referencing stuff that did not happen in that episode whatsoever. He's like, "You were right when you said blah blah blah." She never said that. There's like whole lines missing and stuff. Something happened during production where they chopped up these scripts, and I can't help but feel that maybe Inferno was supposed to be longer, and they just threw it into one episode. I don't know. Is that what you feel is wrong, or what is your complaint?
I don't know why this show exists.
Okay. That's a fair complaint.
So
I have a theory why it exists, but we could get to that in a minute.
I mean, money, sure. But I mean, this is just for member berries. That's all this show is. Like, the X-Men 90 show was not canceled. It was...
They kind of went bankrupt at the time,
well,
and they...
Well, so not exactly, because I mean, like, technically, season 4, the Apocalypse stuff, was supposed to be the finale.
Mm-hmm.
And then Fox ordered more episodes, like, at the very last minute. And so they kind of just threw together season 5.
Mm-hmm.
But for all intents and purposes, this show was not canceled. And so, like, I get why we're bringing, X-Men cartoons back, but other than the fact that this is a recognizable art style, I don't know why we're bringing this one back. So, like, I mean, like,
I think that they are trying to reestablish what X-Men was before the Fox movies changed it into something else. Like, they're trying to get back, hey, this is what X-Men used to be, and this is what our X-Men are going to be like. Because we saw Beast at the end of the Marvels. It's this Beast, from the X-Men cartoon. And I think that they're throwing these out here because when we get to Secret Wars and all these worlds are colliding, I think you're going to see these characters in live action. And they want to already have them established in the cartoon just to remind people, hey, remember these guys?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
I'm just telling you probably what's in their head. And
probably.
Kevin Feige has said that this is his favorite version of the X-Men. Is what's the X-Men cartoon and stuff. So
that doesn't give me any comfort that this is his favorite version of the X-Men, though.
That being said,
it's a decent show. It's just like, yeah. I mean, like member berries are just marketable regression. Like, I feel like that we're regressing. Like here's the thing. You brought up, Batman the Animated Series, DC Animated Universe. That stuff wasn't canceled. The DC Animated Universe had a finale. It ended.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need them to ever bring it back.
Oh, agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited for Batman Caped Crusader. With whatever they end up doing with that, it's something different. I loved the Batman. I loved Brave and the Bold. I loved Beware the Batman. Give me something new. Or if, like, a show like Young Justice gets canceled, then yeah, bring it back. Let's finish this up. I don't exactly like what they did with Young Justice, but that's an understandable why they brought it back. So like, if you're gonna bring back X-Men, Wolverine and the X-Men would have been the one to do, because that show actually got
yeah, I
canceled.
agree that show ended on a cliffhanger, was never finished.
And that show was better.
Oh, exactly. I 100% agree.
I don't know, like that's my whole thing, is like, this is a decent show with whatever. I will be honest, the Motendo episode, I hated it. I just hated it.
I said, I think it was
Yeah.
half the script got thrown in the garbage, and I think if we had the whole script, maybe it would have been better.
Oh, no, I mean, just the fact that they got pulled into the X-Men arcade game, I'm like, I feel like I'm being pandered to, and I don't like it. I feel like you're pandering to me. It's very obvious, so just stop. But because first of all, that's not a Mojo plotline. That's an arcade plotline.
Well, yeah, that would make more sense if it was arcade. Was he ever
Yeah.
on the old cartoon? I think he was.
I think so. Actually, let me look that up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, that's my thing, is like,
I thought they rushed through the Inferno storyline so fast. It was ridiculous. Like, that should have been the whole.
Arcade was in X-Men Evolution.
Okay, so he was never.
By the X-Men Evolution was a better show than the '90s show too. That's my hot take.
I think it got there eventually. The first season's rough, but it does eventually become a decent show.
I think once they bring in the New Mutants, it gets really good.
So, what was I saying? Inferno, that should have been like the whole season arc. Like,
right, yeah.
The Maddie revelation should have been like, if you're doing a 10-episode arc, that should have been like episode 8. And it's slowly build up that things are getting worse and darker for the X-Men. Is it because Magneto's the leader now, or is there something more evil going on? And then have the Maddie Jean revelation. And then that should have taken several episodes to get wrapped up. Instead, it's all in one episode. That she just leaves at the end. It's kind of like, wait, what? It shouldn't Cyclops be more upset that the woman that he thought was his wife and the mother of his child just walked out the door, is never coming back? And I don't know. That's kind of how Cyclops was in the comic book too. But so the other thing I did not like, why is Bishop here?
Exactly.
He's just hanging out like, oh yeah, they're fixing my time machine. I'll be out of here soon. I'm just a plot device to get Baby Cable to the future. And I felt like you need to set that up a little better. I feel like we missed episodes. And then we're just kind of picking up at this weird spot.
Like, maybe we should have picked up exactly after graduation day instead of a year later.
Yeah, because when Morph is fighting, he turns into magic and then into Dark Child. I'm like, that never happened in the X-Men animated series. I want that episode. And then you could have set up Limbo and the demons, and then all the stuff of Madeline would have made a whole lot more sense, if they'd already been there to save magic. There's just some weird choices here. I was excited to see Madeline Pryor. I'm excited that their adversary showed up. He's a fun villain. But some weird choices.
My thing is another thing is, like, if you want to continue the 90s show and do more X-Men stories in this, I'm sorry, I don't think anything before Grant Morrison is worth doing.
I disagree. There's a lot.
I know you do. But like,
I'm more of a Claremont guy. You're more Grant Morrison, and
I mean,
even the guy whose name we can't say, the Josh something.
Yeah, I do like Redacted's Astonishing X-Men. That is true. But I don't know. I mean, like, but they're not even doing Claremont. They're doing Executioner.
Well, he's there, but Life Death, that's Claremont. The Inferno stuff, Madeline Pryor, that's Claremont. Magneto being put on trial, that's Claremont. I mean, they are doing Claremont stories. They've just brought some characters in a little bit ahead of time.
Yeah. I guess the problem is we've already done the big bads of Claremont, you know? So like I don't think that there's anyone I
There's so here's what I would say.
like is
There,
this going to lead up to Onslaught? Is that really what we're building to? Is Onslaught?
I think we're building towards Sentinel, something Sentinel, maybe Nimrod, maybe I don't know, and I feel like Madeline Pryor's gonna come back in some form at the end, and maybe yeah, if Xavier returns, maybe then we'll see Onslaught or residual Xavier energy. Yeah, anyhow, I'm getting into weird speculation mode. Um, I did like that the trial of Magneto had a resolution, unlike in the comic books where it never really had a resolution. At least they did that. And at least it felt like the Madeline story had a little bit a better ending than the comic books. Because if you haven't read the comic books, Madeline Pryor is just straight up Madeline Pryor from the beginning. They know she's not Jean Grey. And she like joins the X-Men, marries Cyclops, they have the kid. Then the original Jean Grey comes back, and Cyclops just abandons her and the kid and leaves, and then her kid gets kidnapped, and then the X-Men just kind of treat her like dirt, and it wasn't called for. She's
Yeah.
just and so then when she becomes evil, it's like, oh yeah, she was evil, we knew it. No, you didn't. You just treated her like crap. And so at least on the cartoon, they were still trying to help her, and Cyclops didn't fully abandon her. He was still kind of a jerk to her, but he didn't fully abandon her like he did the comic book. The other weird thing, why did Mr. Sinister infect Nathan with the techno-organic virus? Do you know why it happened in the comic books?
He was trying to like kill him, right?
So Mr. Sinister was wanting to create a mutant that could kill Apocalypse. So he knew
Oh
the
yeah.
offspring of Cyclops and Jean Grey would be that child, and when Jean died, he made Madeline Pryor. Apocalypse found out that Mr. Sinister had made a weapon. Apocalypse infected the baby with the techno-organic virus, so he wouldn't be able to kill him in the future. Not Mr. Sinister. I have no idea why they had Mr. Sinister to go, oh, I'm going to make him invincible and infect him with a virus that's going to try and kill him. It made no sense.
I mean, like that. That's another thing. Are we building to another apocalypse? Because like here's the thing. Like this is the X-Men '90s show. Apocalypse, been there, done that. Like
Been there, done that quite a few times on the old cartoon.
Yeah. No, what honestly, what they really should have done was they should have done Inferno, and then like time skip to E is for Extinction or House of M, because if you're wanting to make Cable like the crux of this show, then we should be doing Messiah Complex.
Well, I mean, I think you can get there eventually. I would have done this whole season as Inferno with the New Mutants. I would have brought in all the New Mutants, because Magneto was the one who was training them in the comic books also. And so do that story. You could do the Magic and the Dark Child story. And
do the Dark Beast saga, right, or whatever it is. Not Dark Beast saga. What is it? The one that they did the New Mutants.
the Demon
movie.
Bear.
The Demon Bear saga. That's right.
Yeah, we could do Demon Bear. There's all kinds of stories they could have done.
You know, X-Men is like they're like Dragon Ball Z. They love their sagas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Although their sagas go for 6 issues, Dragon Ball Z goes on for 200 episodes.
Yeah, so it sounds like I'm more positive on the show than you are. You just kind of feel like it shouldn't exist.
Yes.
And I think if you need that X-Men itch, this is a good remedy for that X-Men itch. That nasty, we don't have an ointment for the X-Men itch, but this show might help you get some relief.
Yeah, and it's not that like there's nothing inherently wrong with this show, but like, you gotta like. I have to know the reason as to like why this, like if you're bringing back something, you got to give me a reason as to why you're bringing it back. And unfortunately, the one who brought it back got fired.
Yeah, yeah.
So now we don't even know why we're bringing it back.
And I feel like some of it is season one, a show has to find its voice again. So I think right now it's it's good, but like I said, something just feels a little bit off. And maybe it would get better in a season two. But now the guy behind it's been fired. Who
which
knows what?
which we don't even know why.
It sounds like he was on a certain website that's only for certain types of fans.
Ah,
That is the allegations.
like he was.
Pictures of him were out there and about.
Oh, so he was having people.
Pay money to see him.
He had the fans. He wasn't
Allegedly,
a fan.
I don't know if this is 100% true or not. We will slap a big fat allegedly on that.
He allegedly had fans of his own.
Yes, that were only his. So, yeah. So I think there are 6 more episodes.
I think so, yeah.
And I think like the last 3 are like a big 3-part finale.
That's usually how they did it back in. It was 4-part finales in.
Yeah. So
in the 90s.
I keep seeing Sentinel Tech pop up everywhere. So I feel like, and all the mutants are heading towards Genosha. So if you know your comic history, that's a bad sign that all the. So yeah, maybe we are getting Eve for Extinction. The events of the Sentinels just wiped out everybody in Genosha at the end.
I mean, here's the thing: if that's what we're building to, and maybe we're just building to it the wrong way, but if that's what we're building to, and we do Eve for Extinction, then you're on my better side.
I think that's exactly where we're going. Remember Madeline's vision in episode 1, all the gravestones and stuff.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's Genosha. Yep.
Oh, hold on. So I just read the episode titles that are coming up. Do you want to hear them?
Yeah, I've heard them, but go ahead.
So there's Remember It. That's the next one. Then they're doing Life Death Part 2.
So Remember It's going to be a Gambit episode because that was his. You always say I'm Gambit, remember it or something.
Right.
That was his catchphrase.
Yeah. Bright Eyes, which I guess is going to be a
Rogue. I think it's either Rogue or Cyclops.
Yeah.
She always said Bright Eyes on the old cartoon.
And then Tolerance is Extinction.
So it sounds like Operation Tolerance.
Operation Zero Tolerance and E is for Extinction.
So it's Bastion mixed with Genosha. Yeah, I could see that.
Which here's the thing. That mixing, and I know I've been super negative this whole show. I didn't mean to, because like I didn't hate it. I just have to I have to play devil's advocate, I guess, because everyone else is blindly loving the show without questioning it. And I don't think that show deserves that.
Let me ask you this way: compared to everything else that Marvel has released in the last 3 years, is this top tier, mid tier, bottom tier?
I think it's high tier, but like, I mean, it's not better than Guardians 3. I've heard people say I have heard numerous people say that this is the best thing that Marvel has put out in years, and I'm like, no, it's not.
I think this is up there with Werewolf by Night and Guardians 3 and
no, I don't think it's up that. I think it's up there with like Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it shows quite good. I'll just put my stamp on it. I just think it needs to slow down because it's going so fast. The emotional impact is getting lost all over the place.
If it's going fast just because they want to get to a combination of Operation Zero Tolerance and E is for Extinction, you've won me back. I love E is for Extinction. I love Zero Tolerance. Do both of those and then immediately go into Messiah Complex, and you got me. I'm on board.
But like I was saying, Motendo was for like half the episodes missing. Same with Life Death. Like You have to have Storm and Forge fall for each other, and then have that shock that, oh yeah, I built the gun that stole your powers, and that gut punch of betrayal, and it just felt like we had not
I,
spent enough time with them together for that impact.
I'm if I can be just upfront about Motendo, which once again I hated that episode. Um, I, if I'm going to be critical about anything, it's that episode. I know you say that you think that they chopped it up. I don't. I think it's more the fact that they didn't have enough to fill out a whole episode.
Well, I think there would have been more levels shown, but then it's just gonna be the same thing of them running around
Yeah,
punching characters,
yeah,
repetition.
yeah,
Uh, but if you listen to their conversations, like they're referencing stuff Magneto said that Magneto never said the episode, or that Jubilee. He's like, "Oh, Jubilee, you were right when you said blah blah blah." She never said that. There are chunks of that episode that are on the
yeah,
cutting room floor, and one of the criticisms I have heard repeatedly about the show is Magneto and Rogue being a couple, and that's from the comic books. They didn't just invent that. Magneto and Rogue being a couple is something that's happened repeatedly in the comic books, and I've heard that complaint that, oh no, there's an age gap, they shouldn't be together, blah blah blah. I think we cannot be critical of shows saying, "Oh, it's not comic book accurate," and then when it is comic book accurate, going, "Oh, I don't like that." We
yeah.
gotta pick a
Now,
lade.
now here's the thing. I can say that I don't like it because I also didn't like it in the comics.
Okay.
But I acknowledge that it's comic book accurate.
Hmm.
Um, but you got to understand, one of my favorite runs. It's not one of my favorites, but I enjoyed it. Was the Mr. and Mrs. X run
Hmm.
with a Gambit and Rogue. So like, I'm Team Gambit Rogue.
Oh, I
Uh,
am too at the end of the day, but I don't mind a little bit of Magneto and Rogue on the side.
yeah. Um,
You gotta have the soap opera drama of
oh, of course.
yeah.
I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, X-Men, more so than any other, and I stand by this, X-Men more so than any other comic book besides maybe Teen Titans, which was its rival. I mean, this is a CW, Teen Nick soap opera.
Oh yeah.
It always has been.
Yes.
And that I mean, that's why Hickman's was so weird, because it went from like a Teen Nick soap opera to like an HBO drama. So,
Yeah.
which would have been interesting. But then they decided to get rid of Hickman, and then they kept him on Genosha, but then turned it back into a Teen Nick
They
soap
turned it
opera.
into like, I'm gonna get this episode with so much trouble. They turned it into like slash fanfic drama. It's like, all the writers from Tumblr and artists just got turned loose on the X-Men books, and it was everybody else was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
so yeah, I give the show a thumbs up. You're kind of I
I
guess a wait and see attitude.
right. Like, now that I know what it's leading to, because I actually didn't even look at the episode list. If it is leading to Operation Zero Tolerance meets E is for Extinction, and we're like skipping stuff like Onslaught and Legion and stuff like that, I'm definitely more on board, because I mean, I there are cool storylines, but like, we need like, you need the storyline. You need the villain to get me, invested in this. And right now, I mean, we've already done Phoenix. We've already done Apocalypse. Like, you gotta,
They did so much stuff on the old cartoon. They did Age of Apocalypse. They did Phalanx. They've done a bunch of it. So
yeah,
it's hard for them to find plot lines they've done, which is why I thought Inferno was a great idea, but then they just did it in one episode, which made no
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
So
Um, which, I mean, it would have been much easier if this was a different show. If this was a reboot, if this was, a new X-Men show, you could do your interpretation of Phoenix. You can
yeah,
do your
yeah.
interpretation of, and so that's where I'm at.
I
Is
think why does this show exist again? I think they have to get the X-Men back in the eyes of the public. They gotta get toys selling in. They gotta get people knowing, remembering who these characters were. You got a whole new generation who did not grow up watching the old cartoon. They are not familiar with the characters. They gotta make X-Men hot again, and they're
I mean,
trying.
yeah, I mean, like, I get it. I guess I have more faith in X-Men than they do, I guess, because I feel like you could have made a new X-Men show and people would watch it.
Oh, absolutely. But then that's a lot more money having to come up with new designs and this and that. And
Which then, of course, brings us back to money.
yeah. And like I said, you could tell that something happened during production. Things got chopped. Something happened. So yeah, let's end on this question. What Marvel animated series would you like to see continued? I think there's an obvious answer. I know you're going to say Spider-Man MTV, but
So that's my meme answer. I love that show, but I know that there are three right answers, and one of them is already out the door. We can't do that because one of them is Wolverine and the X-Men.
okay.
But the other two, I think, are obvious: Spectacular Spider-Man
Mm-hmm.
and Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Yep. Yeah.
By
Heroes.
the way, both shows that got canceled. Okay,
Yeah.
they didn't have a proper ending, like some X-Men shows did.
Yeah. Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. If you want to learn Avengers lore, that's the show. It is so good. And one of the cool things that show did that this show also does is the X-Men opening theme song changes depending on who the roster is and stuff. I don't know if you've been paying attention to that.
Yeah.
But the roster changes and the clips change every episode, which I appreciate.
I mean, Justice League Unlimited did that.
Yeah.
And I always love that about Justice League Unlimited. But yeah, I think those are the two obvious shows. And then can I also say one show that they shouldn't bring back, even though they're going to, is the 90s Spider-Man show?
I agree. I mean, that one did end on a cliffhanger, and I don't care. He could look for Mary Jane forever. I don't care.
Here's so you know how we're talking about the X-Men 90 show, not as good as people remember.
Yeah.
It's not as good as people remember, but I don't think it sucks. Okay. The 90s Spider-Man show sucks. Like it sucks. Like
it is terrible. And there's such a demand right now to bring it back. And I'm just like, have you watched the show? It is not good.
Spider-Man Unlimited is the follow-up that show deserved. Like
Spider-Man Ring of the Knights of Wundagore. Yes, it was a great show.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm always talking about the praises of MTV Spider-Man, because that show was way better.
Spider-Man the animated series from the 90s had so many restrictions on it. Spider-Man was not allowed to throw a punch on that show. And the finale to that show is great. That is probably the best part. It's the 2-part Spider-Verse finale. They're trying to stop Spider Carnage.
I like that, and I like the interpretation of the alien costume, because that one was just pretty darn close.
Yeah.
Those are the two things. But we got to remember that Dormammu made Carnage. We got to remember that Doc Ock was German. We got to remember that
Electro was also German.
Electro was a Nazi. Like,
we can't say that word on YouTube, Caleb.
What? I said Yahtzee.
Okay, all right, just making sure.
And then Peter Parker's parents were superheroes.
And they did a whole season about Morbius, and it's probably worse than the Morbius movie. He wasn't even allowed to bite people. He had little energy suckers on his hands.
Which is more terrifying than biting people. And if I have to say one good thing about that show besides the alien costume, I would say season 2 might be the best season with the whole neogenic nightmare. That was at least interesting. Um,
I thought the
uh,
Green Goblin was fun on the show. Anytime he showed up, I enjoyed it.
I thought it was interesting that Hobgoblin showed up first. That was really interesting.
Yeah, kind of dumb. Interesting as in it's dumb.
It was fun that it was Mark Hamill, though. You know,
Oh yeah.
Mark Hamill's played the Trickster, the Joker, and Hobgoblin. That's all interesting.
Remember how big of a character they made Alistair Smythe on that show?
I was just about to bring that up. Like, why?
Why?
And
he
then
was like in like 2 issues of the
Yeah.
comic book, and he's like
Well-
on every episode.
well, and so then he was like, he built the Spider Slayers, and then he mutates himself, and he becomes the ultimate Spider Slayer. And oh man,
I just
okay,
remember him in his little wheelchair talking to Kingpin over and over. That's all I remember. It's just those two talking to each other all the time.
yeah, it's
Ugh.
that show sucks.
It is bad, and it is one that, and people bring it up all the time. It's like Space Jam. People bring that up all the time. And I'm like,
Space Jam sucks.
It does. Just because you saw it when you were a little kid does not mean it's good.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I watched Spider-Man whenever here's the thing. I didn't watch Space Jam when I was a kid, so like I say that sucks as an adult. But I watched the Spider-Man show when I was a kid, and even as a kid, honestly, when I was a kid, I thought it was boring. Like I would watch
I
it
was just there for Venom. If Venom showed up, I was in. But yeah, it was not a good show.
So, Space Jam was a Nike commercial. yes, it was. But no, I mean, like, so my Saturday mornings, it was on Jetix. Was not Saturday mornings. It was like every morning, because it was Jetix. Like Spider-Man, X-Men.
I always forget you were not around when it originally aired. I was watching it like every Saturday morning.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of was, but like I was still young.
Well, I mean, it was a '90s cartoon, so yeah, you weren't born until late '90s.
Yeah.
So
96, yeah.
Yeah.
And so like I would watch it on like the VHS tapes where we would rent them, but like I watched it all the way through on Jetix in like the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
And like honestly, it was the lead into Power Rangers, and I loved Power Rangers. And so I would just watch that because it was the lead into Power Rangers, and I'm just like, this show is boring.
I
And
was just remembering how much Madam Web was on the show.
yeah, she also sucked. Their Beyonder also sucked.
Yes.
Their Secret Wars also sucked.
Yes.
Man, I don't know if I've said this yet, but this 90s Spider-Man show sucks.
The '90s Avengers show sucks. There's a lot of Marvel shows during that time period.
I will argue United We Stand is better than Spider-Man though, because at least like it's kind of interesting. The Spider-Man show is just boring.
You know, cartoon was crazy at the time was the Silver Surfer cartoon. I loved it, but
I love that show.
There was no reason for that to be on a Saturday morning, though.
Yeah,
it was so out there.
I loved that. Oh, you know what was a weird one was the Fantastic Four one.
With the weird theme song.
Well, with the weird theme song, and then as they're fighting Galactus, Ghost Rider just comes out of nowhere and ends it. For no reason.
As he does.
Yeah.
Ghost Rider Galactus, famous arch enemies.
Of course.
Although I say that, and then you have Cosmic Ghost Rider that was a herald of Galactus. So
you see that honestly, that's kind of the stuff that I want. Like I said, member berries are just marketable regression. Mm-hmm. Marvel, you have so many interesting things now that you could do. Like Cosmic Ghost Rider would be such a cool like space opera cartoon.
Yeah, it would almost. I mean, I know they don't own Adult Swim, but it would almost be like an Adult Swim cartoon.
Right.
Yeah,
like
something like a Hulu. You talk about Hulu animated series, that would be something that would be Hulu exclusive.
I mean, I think you could make it about as dark as the later episodes of the Clone Wars, and it'd be fine.
Yeah.
And that was on Cartoon Network.
If you've never read Cosmic Ghost Rider, I would encourage you to. It's a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
yeah. But I mean, I would assume that now that the Infinity Saga is over, Marvel's trying to distance themselves from Cosmic. Have you been getting that sense? Like, I just feel like they're trying to get away from Cosmic, kind of like a been there, done that thing.
I think they had big plans for Cosmic and they lost James Gunn, and now they don't know what to do because Captain Marvel flopped. And that kind of would have set up their next Cosmic things.
Yeah, I could see that.
And Eternals was going to be their next Cosmic thing, and it flopped. And I think they're still doing those storylines. They just won't be in Eternals too.
And then Thor was their big Cosmic thing, and then it flopped.
Yeah, so I think they don't know what to do. But I'm also sick of Avengers. So it's like, well, unless you do X-Men or Fantastic Four, which they eventually will do, or Spider-Man, if they really lean into Spider-Man. But
I don't know. They've been talking about how they're phasing Spider-Man out of the MCU at this point too.
That's so dumb. He's your flagship character. They should. I mean, really, right now they should have a Spider-Man Tom Holland movie out every 2 years, just like clockwork. Just crank them out.
I feel so bad for Tom. You know, here's the thing. I'm definitely Team Chalamet in the Holland versus Chalamet. But I feel bad for Tom Holland because like Boyd just doesn't know if he has a job.
No, he doesn't. And Marvel wants one thing, Sony wants another.
Sony just needs to get its act together about Beyond the Spider-Verse.
There are 3 characters that Marvel has that are kind of massively popular. Well, I don't want to include Iron Man because he's Robert Downey. It's Robert Downey Jr.'s massively.
Yeah, that's not Iron Man.
Yeah,
no.
Spider-Man.
You know who Iron Man is? They're Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
like Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange is closer to Iron Man, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. But yeah, the 3 characters they should be focused on: Spider-Man, Hulk, Wolverine. Those are your 3.
That's my childhood. That's the big 3 from the early 2000s. That's my childhood.
Yes, but I mean, you don't know how popular Hulk really is. I mean, he had a TV show in the 70s. Everybody knows who Hulk is. And
there's a cartoon, and here's the thing: I don't remember if that show sucked or not. Do you remember which one I'm talking about?
Yeah. I don't think I watched enough of it to have an opinion.
Do you remember the Ultimate Destruction game that they came out with? The Hulk.
So
it was like on the GameCube and everything. Oh man, that game was so good.
Yeah, I think if they would bring back Hulk Smash and really lean into it, because we haven't had that in a while. In the movies, it's been. I guess Ragnarok was made the last time we really saw Hulk Smash.
Yeah.
It's been a while. And even before then, they were kind of like playing it up like their version of Banner's like, oh yeah, Hulk Smash, ooh, like he didn't want to do it and stuff. And it's just been a while since we've had that Banner that just gets angry and just destroys things.
I mean, I love the Rousseau brothers. The Hulk stuff is their fault though. I will, and it's because like I'm convinced that they just don't like the Hulk, and so they just wanted to get that out of the way.
Well, I think they wanted to do Professor Hulk, but Professor Hulk is fun in the comic books. Their version sucks. It's just him taking selfies and stuff.
Marvel sucks.
Professor Hulk, he's still the Hulk smashing through things, but he's also carrying like a giant machine gun, just shooting everybody and stuff, and he's a gangster and stuff. And,
Mr. Fix-It or whatever.
Oh yeah, Gray Hulk, Mr. Fix-It, and he's just mean, and that is just not. Ever since Ruffalo has taken over it, Hulk, he's just not a mean character, and Hulk should be a mean, angry. Like he's just a time bomb in the room, and everybody just kind of, walking on their tiptoes around him, not to set him off, and that you don't ever get that sense in the comic or in the movies.
And do you know who you just described?
Who?
Edward Norton.
But Edward Norton.
You just described Edward Norton. Everyone, he's gonna blow up at any moment. Tiptoe around him. Don't piss him off. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh man, like I,
All right. So,
I'm of two minds because like I want Marvel to move forward, but then there's some stuff that is new that I think they should do away with.
oh yeah, I don't want to see a Gwenpool movie. If I see a Gwenpool movie, I will just burn down the theater.
If the villain,
I shouldn't say that, but yeah.
if the villain of the next Spider-Man movie is Screwball, I'm done. Screwball, played by Corinna Kopf or whatever her
Now, if
name.
you were doing like a Spider-Man TV show, you just had like a little cameo of Screwball or something. I don't. That'd be fine. But
I could see Screwball as like an episode, like once a season, kind of like Mr. Mxyzptlk from the
yeah,
Superman
yeah.
show.
But I wouldn't want a whole season arc of we've got to capture Screwball. She's out of control or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
And the fact that our audience doesn't know who Screwball is,
exactly.
that shows. Um,
Yeah.
but oh man, like
So let me get Disney out of my system because I don't want to talk about Disney again for a couple of months. They made me so bad last week. Uh, what do you let's just kind of because we haven't talked about it in a while the state of the MCU. I guess we're just waiting for the Deadpool movie to come out at this point. X-Men 97 is
yeah.
going to finish up. Then it's the Deadpool movie, and then that's it for this year, right? I don't think there's anything else this year. I think it's just Deadpool. We don't know when Spider-Verse 3 is coming out. That's been
if
delayed to forever.
that's the biggest what if, you know.
Yeah. We'll probably get another season of What If this year, but I don't think anybody cares.
Okay, so are we talking about like anything Marvel or
Sure, we'll say anything Marvel, TV, movie, cartoon coming out next couple of years. What do we got?
Craven?
Yeah. So that's this
Apparently,
year. Craven and Deadpool are this year.
Venom 3 is also this year.
Okay.
Apparently, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is this year.
The TV show that'll.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna suck. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The Agatha show is apparently this year.
Okay. Which is apparently like a musical or something stupid.
Which I guarantee you it wasn't a musical until Folie à Deux announced that it was a musical. The Joker 2.
Oh yeah.
Like, here's the problem is that a lot of, and people don't actually realize this, but it is true, a lot of what Marvel has done has been responses to DC. Like, the only reason we have the Civil War movie is because they were going to do the Serpent Society, but as soon as they announced Batman v Superman, they started production on Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
So like everything
they trashed the plot for the third Spider-Man home movie to be No Way Home once they heard that
Flashpoint.
Yeah.
So like Agatha being a musical, it is not out of the realm of possibility that is like, oh well, if Joker is doing a musical, then we got to do one. And then the Marvels had an entire musical planet.
Yeah.
That was like having a stroke.
So what is next year? Next year,
Captain America.
Captain America, Thunderbolts, maybe.
Have you seen the stuff about the Thunderbolts? Like,
I know
it's
there's
got this weird new logo and everything.
No, I haven't been. I don't care enough to follow. I know the Daredevil show's coming out next year. I know that Fantastic Four's been a bit delayed. I want to say the Blade movie. I don't think is ever coming out. I don't think that.
I mean, here's the thing: the Blade movie doesn't need to come out because you don't need to base. You are a Hollywood producer. Uh, in the Falcon movie, but I think they scrapped it again. Yeah, I mean, I would have. I love that stuff. Whenever Sam is Falcon, like with the Serpent Society, I love that stuff. So that would have been a lot of fun. Um, but yeah, I mean, like you are a Hollywood producer, so you don't base your slate on an actor coming in and saying, "Hey, I want to be Blade."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Yeah, you
Like
gotta have a plan.
I don't care if it's Mahershala Ali. I don't care if it's Denzel Washington. Like, make a Blade movie when you want to make a Blade movie.
So this is 2024. Next year, Captain America comes out 2025. You know what movie? And they're going to introduce the Red Hulk. You know what movie should be coming out in 2026?
World War Hulk.
Yeah, Green Hulk versus Red Hulk, and have that poster of just the Hulks fighting. I mean, you would pack theaters for
No, what you need to do is you need to make that Kevin Hart is Blade. Absolutely, I agree. uh, let's get Stephen A. Smith. Uh,
Kevin
uh,
Hart, like,
um, but
and the Rock is Whistler.
and then Ryan Reynolds. Let's get him back as Hannibal. How about that?
Yeah, yeah.
Another universe. Jeez, what was I saying? I can't remember.
I don't know. We were talking about the whole World War Hulk or something.
Oh, yes, that's right, that's right. What they should do is they should make it like a WWE wrestling thing where they have like posters of Hulk and Red Hulk, and
Yes,
like
it should be massive.
just make it a wrestling thing. That'd be so
Yes,
dope.
it would be huge, and I don't think they're going to do that. I
No,
almost guarantee they're not going to do that.
just like World War Hulk, make it like a Royal Rumble. You got She-Hulk, you got Abomination, Red Hulk, Hulk, like just Royal Rumble. Bring in
Yes,
Doc Samson in there.
yeah, and just smashing monuments left and right. Just like, can humanity survive if all this
I
happens?
I need Hulk. I need Green Hulk to pick up the Washington Monument and then use Red Hulk like a baseball. Like
Yes,
that's what I need.
yeah. And then
Mark,
have Absorbing Man show up and he just gets crushed right away because he's just outmatched completely.
and then it's all like the leader is all behind it, and then like everyone just teams up on the leader and they just beat the crap out of him like Powerpuff Girls style.
Uh,
Hulk, yes, yes, a Hulk kaiju movie. That is what I'm
yes,
asking for.
yes, yeah.
That is exactly what I'm asking
I
for.
want Independence Day, but the threat is the Hulk in the barrack. It's just people panicking, and how do you get out of the city when they're just destroying everything?
And I want a Godzilla versus Kong movie to actually be about Godzilla versus Kong. That's what I want.
And here's the thing about Marvel: they have kaiju's, they have Fin Fang Foom and stuff. We
Bring
could
in
go,
Kid Kaiju. I love Kid Kaiju. He's the
yeah,
only Inhuman that I like.
yeah. I mean, they could do a really fun Marvel disaster movie.
It'd be so cool. Well, and the problem is if they did a Marvel disaster movie, they'd also have to bring up the fact that there's this like giant hole in the planet where like a baby celestial's coming out of
Oh
that's
yeah,
frozen.
yeah, yeah.
We still haven't brought that up.
Yeah, shh. Don't worry about that giant hand coming out of the ocean. If that happened in reality, people would be going nuts. There'd be churches worshiping the hand of the ocean and stuff. And I think that's sometimes where the MCU kind of loses me. They have these outrageous things happen, and then the world just doesn't react to it. They're just like, yeah, whatever. Another
That's
superhero thing.
I mean that's what I really liked about Yield Daredevil show was the only reason that Kingpin rose to power was because he took advantage of the Battle of New York.
Yeah,
Like that was
yeah,
dope.
yeah.
Uh, get Baby Hulk when they team up with A-Bomb, Abomination. Yeah. That is fighting Fing Fang Foom. That's what I'm asking for.
Oh, that would be so much fun.
They can't do Fing Fang Foom though because that name is racist now.
Oh,
They already did Fing Fang Foom in Shang Chi. No one wants to admit it though.
yeah. Yeah. So I guess I'm just trying. I'm just thinking. We enjoyed it, or I enjoyed X-Men '97. You think it's all right?
That's right. We
Uh,
were talking about X Men '97.
yeah, I'm just trying to think. Is Marvel back on track?
No,
No. Yeah, I,
no.
I think they get one thing kind of right, and it's like, how do you fix this? Then does Kevin Feige just need to be gone at this point?
Yes, yes.
I really think he should have left either at the end of Endgame or at least at the end of like the Spider-Man movie. Like, okay, here's my final bow on everything. We're at the end of No Way Home. That'd been a nice time to just hey,
He should have left after Far From Home because Far From Home was the epilogue to Phase 3, and then Phase 4 is whenever I don't know why the Rousseau brothers didn't take over.
yeah, I would have put them in charge. Or I mean, it's got to be somebody new. You got to shake it up. Um, Even if you just make Kevin Feige like a consulting producer at that point, have him no longer be the one in charge. Do something, put someone else in charge because
Well, no, I think what you do is, and this is your loop. Your loop is the Rousseau brothers take over, and then they spend the next three phases building up their successor, and then it keeps going.
yeah, yeah.
Like so that's probably what I would have done. But yeah,
I
Steven
think
Yeun's still on the billing for Thunderbolts, and he's not even.
I still know why they're doing a Thunderbolts movie that is not about villains trying to be heroes. I mean, I guess some of these people are kind of shady characters, but it is so far from
Well, and
what the
I mean,
concept was.
obviously, the biggest problem with do you remember the joke? Did you ever watch James Gunn's Suicide Squad? I always ask this, and
Yes, I have. It
okay,
was the only DC movie I've watched since Man of Steel.
yeah, and that's why it confuses me because I can never remember. So do you remember the joke whenever Idris Elba is like, or whenever Bloodsport is like, you said everyone was unique. He does exactly what I do, but better. Like that.
Yeah,
If you look at their roster for Thunderbolts, they all are the same character because you have
yeah. I
Winter
mean,
Soldier,
yeah,
Ghost, U.S. Agent, Yelena Belova, who is their Black Widow, Red
yeah.
Guardian, Taskmaster. These are all the same character.
I think the Ghost is probably the one that's the most different, at least.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, they are. Yeah, it's
and
it's
then
not good.
yeah, and then maybe um, this is why you don't kill off your villains,
Oh, I
because
agree. Yeah,
like your villain like Ghost, sure. Bucky, I get it. He's kind of like your Rick Flag, but like you should have had like I mean, Abomination should 100% be on this list, and he's not. Um,
I think
Real-
Hawkeye would have been more interesting than Winter Soldier, but that's just me. And he was actually part of the Thunderbolts in the comics.
would you have? I mean, would you have had him as like Goliath then?
Well, I would have him show up and then get into his past. Maybe he was a crook at one point before he went straight, like in the comic books,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I could
and
see
then he
that.
could be like the mentor training these shady people how to be heroes.
Yeah, I could see that. Um,
I think Thunderbolts is fun when you've got Baron Zemo whispering in their one ear and then a hero whispering in their other ear, and then they don't know what to do because they're like, oh, I like being a hero, but it's so much easier to be a villain, and I think that's an interesting concept, and I don't I don't know. I just don't know if this Thunderbolts movie. I have zero hope in that.
yeah.
And apparently, the Captain America, Falcon, whatever movie, they keep reshooting it over and
Yeah.
over and over and over.
Well, and they also keep renaming it too.
Yeah. Every time they rename it, they find out there's something else offensive about the name. Like, oh, gotta rename it again. Oh, yeah, that's offensive too. Rename it. Yep, yep.
Then it's gonna come out like, why don't we just name it Captain Falcon? And they're like, oh man, we can't do that. Nintendo's coming after us now. And then we have the greatest litigation of all time, which is Disney versus Nintendo.
Yeah, it's just we get a picture of Captain America punching towards you as a poster. It just says Falcon Punch across it. We're like, oh no.
So the Spider-Man 90 show sucks.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier. I still agree. So let's start wrapping this up. Yeah, I think Marvel's gonna have a couple blips here and there, but they kind of announced their plans too early, like pre-COVID, and we still haven't seen the Fantastic Four movies that they announced pre-COVID, and it's like we're waiting forever for the next Kang Dynasty movie and the Secret Wars movie and this and that.
Believe me, I'm not waiting for that.
Well, no, no one cares anymore at this point. I guess it's more to the point, but they announced a movie that's not going to come out for 5 years at least, and it was kind of everyone's like, oh, what's the next phase? And they should not have announced anything. They should said, here's the movies coming out next year. That's all you get right now. We're just going to announce them year by year, and that's it.
You know what's weird? I actually don't remember when they started the phase thing. Like, did they start that after Avengers, or was that
I think so. I think at the end when Avengers ended, they go, okay, that was phase 1. Now here's phase 2 or somewhere around there.
Then how does one decide that, like, okay, after Ant-Man, now it's phase 3? And I'm like, why is Ant-Man your finale to phase 2?
I don't know. I have no idea. The whole thing's dumb. But I think it was the Comic-Con where they introduced the cast of Eternals on stage was where they announced the Blade movie and Fantastic Four.
Yep.
Remember how long ago that was?
Yeah.
And then I think like 6 months later they announced the Avengers movies, and we're still. I mean, that's nowhere in sight. that's at least like 3 or 4 years away, and I was about to say by then does anybody care, but does anybody care right now? And I think the answer is no. I think everything ended with Endgame, and the
then
audience is just leaving.
And then Guardians 3 was the funeral.
Yeah, Guardians 3 was they keep. I've mentioned this before. They keep giving me endings, and I'm like, okay, I don't have any reason to come back. You gave me an ending at Spider-Man. You gave me an ending with Guardians 3. You gave me an ending on Mandalorian season 3. There's no reason for me to come back. I have my happy endings or whatever. I don't need more stories. And
I'm kind of excited for Deadpool and Wolverine, because I think Deadpool and Wolverine is going to do very well, and then it's going to give them this false sense of security, and it's going to be really funny whenever they stumble again.
Which will happen. Well, I mean, it'll be a year before another movie comes out, though, and then.
That's true. I mean, it's more going to be like, they're going to have a hit, and then they're not going to capitalize on that for a year. Which.
So here's the question: do you think Deadpool 3 will be a hit?
Yeah.
Do you think it'll be a massive hit, like a $1 billion movie?
I think it. I don't know if it'll be a $1 billion movie, but I think it will be It will be the highest selling R-rated movie of all time.
I disagree.
You don't think so?
I think we'll get like a $600-700 million movie, and that's it. I think Joker will still be the highest R-rated movie.
Is it Joker right now?
I think so.
For some reason, I thought it was still Deadpool.
No, no way.
We're gonna look this up. Highest.
Grossing R-rated movie.
You're right. It is Joker.
Yeah, Joker was a massive, massive hit, and then Oppenheimer, and then the Deadpool movies.
And Matrix Reloaded.
But
Okay.
look at, I don't know if you're looking at, but Deadpool 2 and Deadpool, they only made 780 million. So I'm saying
Yeah.
this Wolverine or this Deadpool Wolverine movie, I think 800 million. It'll be lucky if it gets that. If you've been paying attention to box office lately, it's been super low for like every movie.
That's true. What is this? Oh, that makes sense. Okay. I'd never heard of Detective Chinatown 3.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies in China that they do crazy money, and then you're like, wait, what? Who? Huh?
I'm telling you, Eastern sci-fi is weird, and I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember when it was Passion of the Christ for like the longest time.
And that's a movie that keeps getting re-released here and there. So I think you'll start seeing it start creeping back up the list.
Oh, Kingsman's on the list, 39. Okay. Man, these are some great movies. Hold on, that is so weird that like,
What are you looking for? What movie?
okay, so The Matrix and The Matrix Reloaded are in the top 50, but Revolution is nowhere to be found. Oh no, there it is, number 34.
34. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Um.
Amazing
Ooh.
that Enter the Dragon's on that list at number 44. That was a 70s movie. And you got to think
Ooh.
of inflation. That might be the highest movie on here.
Interesting one. How well do you think Furiosa is going to do based on, Mad Max Fury Road being number 37?
I think, again, the box office sucks right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
No one has any money to go to the theaters. We went to see Ghostbusters a few weeks ago, and it was by the time we got tickets and food for 4 people, it was probably $100. I mean, it's crazy.
See that's rookie. You got to smuggle that food in, dog.
Oh, I agree. My wife doesn't agree with me though, so that's that's the problem. I'm married. If I was single, yeah, that would not be happening.
Yo, stop at the deli. The theater's overpriced. You got that backpack? Gonna pack it up. Nice.
Right.
Oh man. I mean, that's what Cameron and I did, because like I don't normally bring stuff into the movie theater because I'm like, okay, this is, we're not gonna be here that long. But like when we went to go see Dune Part 2, bring your own purse.
Yeah.
So,
my purse isn't that big, so it doesn't hold that much food. I need to get a bigger purse.
but like for Dune Part 2, I'm like, okay, so this is a big deal because it's Dune Part 2, and also it's a long movie. So yeah, of course I'm gonna smuggle in my own contraband. Oh, we did get official confirmation of Dune Messiah, so that's fun.
Yeah, I still need to see it. I think it's going in a wildly different direction than the books, so we'll see.
It ends differently than the books, apparently.
Yeah, yeah. So, all right, I think I'm tired of talking about Marvel. I had to get Disney out of my system because, like I said, I got so frustrated with Bob Iger last week.
Yeah.
That I was like, you know what? I need to take a break from all this. If this is causing me this much stress, I need to take a break from all this. So.
Yeah, I am content with oh, we didn't dang it, we didn't talk about the Invincible thing. Did you see that?
About the Spider-Man thing or lack of Spider-Man thing?
What do you mean Agent Spider? Totally different.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the I here's the people are talking about Agent Spider. I think the Batman thing is so much funnier.
Yeah, I haven't really. I just kind of saw a picture of it. I haven't really looked into it. So eventually, I'll get around to Invincible season 2. I just haven't. I've been too busy watching Shogun right now. So, telling you need to watch Shogun. It's so good.
It'll get there. I gotta be honest. Like this has been a fun conversation, but I had more fun with our three body problem conversation, and I just want to go back and keep watching it.
Yeah, I'm almost on book 1, and I'd actually like to finish reading all 3 books, and then we could have a discussion.
Okay. Like I said, I might make my way to the books.
Yeah, just the library is your friend. So
You know what's funny? I actually live now that we moved. I actually live right next to the South Oldham Library, but it's closed right now for some reason.
okay,
So now I have access to a library that's pretty close, and
you
they're
can just
closed.
break in. I'm
I
sure they won't
could.
mind.
I
It's
could.
free
I could.
books. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
purpose of a library.
free books. They don't charge you for being late.
No,
I saw that in Seinfeld, and Seinfeld's not real.
that's right. All right, so we're gonna cap it there. I have no idea what next week's show is going to be about. We talked about Astro City, but Daniel's not quite finished. So
Let me read.
yeah, it's you've seen the Twilight Zone episode with Burgess
Yeah.
Meredith, right?
Yeah.
It's a classic.
I mean, just the one. Like, wasn't he in like 4 of them?
Probably, but the one about there's finally time to
I know.
read, and he
I know.
breaks his
Yeah.
glasses. Poor
Uh,
guy.
I don't know. I'm thinking what we could do next week because
Maybe we'll talk Blade Runner. I don't know. We'll talk about it off air.
yeah.
And I'm trying to see if we can finally do community posts on YouTube. I think we have to have so many viewing hours before we can unlock stuff like that. I think we've had it with as many views as we've had on some of our videos. So
Yeah.
I need to look into that. So I'm gonna try to get a Not the Lineage of the Shark video done this week. So I'm hoping to have that out by Friday about Silver Surfer. I think it's gonna be a really good conversation. Jack Kirby may show up in that video now that I have a Jack Kirby figure. So that'll be a lot of fun. So I'm hoping that if I say that on air, then I'll really feel compelled to get it done this week. So
I'm a shark and I'm a DC.
oh, gosh. We should do those commercials.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, I went to Target yesterday and they had the Kirby figure. I was like, oh, I gotta buy him. So now I got a little Jack Kirby sitting here. He's angrily staring at me.
I'm proud of myself about something. I was at Walmart and they had the collector's edition steelbooks for Mandalorian season 1 and 2, and I had them in my hand. They were both $40, and I put them down. Good. I had self control.
Yes, do not give the Disney juggernaut any more money. Let it run out of gas so we can just shoot it as it falls in the ditch. We'll just put it out of its misery.
I don't know. I'm just concerned that I'm going to end up paying for it. Like, I'm going to pay $100 each much later.
Yeah. You're going to say, oh, I really should have bought those. Then, I get it for $300. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I paid too much for my Clone Wars box set, so it's not even Blu-ray because I couldn't find it on Blu-ray.
Yeah. I can't be critical. I always tell people to support physical media because streaming, you never know what they'll do with the material. So,
well, like that's the thing that like irks me the most is because I want to support. If I could support Disney in anything, it's that I will pay for the physical copy if you release more, because the Netflix Marvel shows, they got about halfway through and then they lost the rights and then nobody's released, because I've got Daredevil season 1 and season 2 and then that's it. Now I didn't buy Jessica Jones or Luke Cage, and those have been released. But that's as much as they've released, like as far as physical media.
Mm-hmm.
And so, don't support the Juggernaut, but the Juggernaut's the one in charge of me having access to this.
Yeah, well, here, if you want to support that, then buy them from Half Price Books. Don't buy them from straight from Disney.
Yeah.
So, All right, let's go ahead and put this one out of its misery. If you've enjoyed this conversation,
Oh no, I didn't forget Iron Fist. I promise.
yeah, and they're bringing Iron Fist to the MCU, but it's gonna be a woman, so because that's what we
No,
do.
no. Here's the thing. I loved watching the Ward Meacham show. I just hated that Iron Fist B plot that they kept going back to. That's only funny if you remember the Iron Fist show, like I do.
I have no clue what you're talking about. Okay.
There was a B plot that was more interesting than the actual plot, and so we just call that the A plot. And then the Iron Fist stuff was the B plot.
Oh, Marvel. All right. Well, if you've enjoyed this, please hit like and subscribe. Please tell your friends. We're here every Sunday, almost every Sunday, except for last Sunday. At
That was a holiday.
yeah. So we'll I'm sorry, I was reading the comments.
Yeah.
We'll be back here next Sunday at 4:00 Eastern. If the eclipse doesn't kill us all tomorrow.
Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday? I don't
It's
know.
Tuesday.
I don't care. I'll be at work. I can't go out.
Oh no. Here's the thing. I watched Heroes. I'm getting my superpowers on Tuesday. Okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Have you ever gotten the feeling that you were meant to do something extraordinary?
Sure.
I crap on it all the time, but I'll watch Heroes any day of the week. I love it.
Yeah. I saw I know I keep trying to wrap up the show, but we keep talking. I saw a meme that said we've had earthquakes and eclipses. This marketing for the new Ghostbusters movie is getting way out of hand. All right.
Snow in July. Here it comes.
Yeah. All right. If you've liked this slop, hit like, subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll be here next Sunday. But until then, I'm Final Monkey.
And I'm Caleb.
We'll catch you next time on the Shark Pond.
See ya.